Okay, you ready, Klim?
I'm ready.
How you doing, everybody, and welcome to the Moffett on the Mic radio show. We are live, as always, courtesy of the A1 Sports Network. I am Craig Moffett, and of course, this show would not be complete without the production stylings of the one and only Chris Klim.
What's up, Craig?
Klim, how was your weekend?
Great weekend. You know, it started off with us going to a cap show, which we do every few times, and it was just an overall good weekend. No complaints. No complaints from me.
Yeah, cap show was pretty good. Thanks to the guys as always for putting on a kick-ass show in Lynbrook over the weekend, and of course, thanks to Jack Tomlinson, VSK, Eric James, and of course the newest member of the Creative Pro / Moffett on the Mic family, Bryce Donovan, for coming on our show last Monday night. He was so freaking cool with my daughter. I can't begin to tell you. It was pretty awesome overall. Like he recognized her right away. What are you doing? Calling
Keep going.
Klim's fire truck beeper went off. But it was pretty much a really good show overall. The guys did a great job. We got to meet Jack Tomlinson during the show, and we got to also hang out with Bryce Donovan, who was on our show last week. If you didn't check out the interview we did with Bryce last Monday night, it is now available courtesy of Apple Podcasts. So you definitely want to check it out and comment and leave a 5-star review. But overall, it was a really good show. And they are moving on to bigger things, as their next show will be in Melville on May 14th. I will definitely try to make it if I can. But it was definitely a lot of fun. If you are in the Long Island area and you get the opportunity, definitely go check out a Creative Pro show. It is worth every penny of admission. You will not be disappointed. You good?
Yeah, I don't know what the fuck's going on with my internet.
Cat's stuck.
We're good right now. We're good at the moment.
Yeah, but you got your fire alarm going, wasn't that your fire beeper that went off?
Yeah, that was the fire. That's nothing. But I'm talking about the internet. Like, the internet is what's fucking up right now.
All right, well, Klim's internet might be going in and out, so we'll do the best we can with whatever time we have. So we got a lot to do and not a lot of time to do it. You can follow the show on Instagram at Moff on the Mic. You can follow Klim and the A1 Sports Network on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And you can, like I said, subscribe to our show courtesy of Apple Podcasts. You can like and comment and leave us a 5-star review because it makes us feel so special. So we were talking about the cap show when you walked away. And, overall, the card was really good. The main event was VSK against Josh Alexander. Pretty good match overall. I think VSK got hurt in that match because he looked like he had some issues with his knee at the very end, so hope he's all right. Our good buddy Jack Tomlinson and his partner Dante Drago, they retained their Cap Tag Team Championship, beating Even Stevens. And I thought I'm never a huge fan of interference in matches, but I really thought it was funny what Eric James did to Steven Somerset.
Oh, that was hilarious.
He wrapped the sweater around his feet and he couldn't get out. I thought that was hilarious. So that was actually a really good ending to the match. Eric James retained his heavyweight championship in a very good, better than I thought, fatal 4-way over CPA, Johnny Clash, and Dr. Cool. I think it's Jay Klang is his name.
Dr. Cool, CPA, and John Clash, Jay Clash, something Clash.
Johnny Clash.
Clash, yes.
So I got to give Keith credit because he predicted that Evil Kip was going to win the Mayhem medal. So, and then actually one of the really good matches of the night, definitely in the top 3, I thought was the Bobby Orlando Jay George match. I thought that was a really good match. So, and Bryce Donovan was awesome with my daughter. Like Jack Tomlinson was awesome with my daughter. She got to hang out with them. She took pictures with VBU. She took a picture with Bryce Donovan, and it was definitely a lot of fun. We always appreciate those guys coming on our show and showing the support, and we're very grateful to them as always. But it was a great show, and they're getting ready for a bigger card next month with a lot of AEW talent coming to the show. Chris Statlander, Hook is going to be there. The Dark Order guys are going to be there. Alex Reynolds and John Silver. And Casper's going to be making a return. So it should be a lot of fun. Like, I'm definitely going to try to go, but since it's such short notice, I can't say for certain if I can go. So I'm just going to have to wait it out and see what happens.
I know. I'm excited. That's going to be a really good show. Like, especially, like, I forgot who it was when he was like, send Hook. I was like, who are you to call out Hook? And then they were like, oh, yeah, Hook's going to be at the next show.
That was Carlo Weiss. And that's funny you mentioned that because I was like, I couldn't figure out why he called out Hook. And then all of a sudden, 2 matches later, the announcer, Ryan, I forgot his name. And all of a sudden, he's announcing the next card of who's going to be there. And then he mentions Hook. So I'm like, oh, that sounds kind of weird that all of a sudden he would that Carlo Weiss would call out Hook. And then it was like, and then I'm like, well, wait a minute. He was on the pre-show, so nobody saw that match.
Yeah.
Only we saw that match because we were at the show. So I guess it made sense at the end of the day.
Yeah, no, it did. Mike Laws. I heard you met my twin brother at the show, Mike Baws.
Stop it, you're killing me.
Oh my God, too funny. Too good, Mike.
So we're going to get into the Aaron Judge stuff in a little bit. We're going to get into our moratorium on the New York Knicks season, which mercifully came to an end yesterday with a win over the Raptors. And we are a little bit over 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. So we are going to kind of fire off some questions and debate some questions of what's going on, what guys are moving up draft boards, what guys are kind of tapering off, and maybe a few surprises as well. So opening day was this past Thursday. Mets and Yankees had successful series openers. Yankees went in 2 out of 3 over the Boston Red Sox. The Mets win 3 out of 4 over the Washington Nationals. Both teams lost yesterday. Yankees lose 4-3 to the Red Sox. Mets lose 4-2 to the Nationals. Buck Showalter seemed to be taking some shit this morning and all over sports radio. I can only imagine what Evan Roberts was complaining about today because he pitched Chasen Shreve and Trevor Williams. And here's my take on it. I don't really see what the big deal is. I guess it's just me. And I mean, we are 4 games into a 162-game season. There's going to be doubleheaders. There's going to be 9-inning doubleheaders now. And Buck's explanation to me was perfectly fine. I didn't really have a problem with it. He just said point blank that he doesn't want to pitch guys 3 days in a row so early in the season.
Yeah.
And I'm okay with that. I really don't have a problem with it. Carlos Carrasco gave you a strong outing, gave you 5 1/3 innings, 5 strikeouts, retired the last 15 guys he faced. Maybe you could have had him just get through 6 just to be on the safe side. But instead of going to Lugo, instead of going to May, instead of going to Ottavino, which I think he would have pitched him 2 days in a row or 3 days in a row, he elected to go to Chasen Shreve, and Chasen Shreve gave up a run, and then the other runs were given up by Williams. Alonso was pretty poor defensively in the field yesterday. But these types of things happen, though, and it's early in the season. Like, I can understand if this was game 45 and you really needed a win kind of thing. But you already won the first 3 games. You won 3 out of 4.
Yeah, like what's there to – there's nothing really to complain about. Plus, you got to remember, these guys are coming off a shortened spring training. So, like, they may not be in 100% right now. So, I mean, give it some time. But, again, if you're complaining after 4 games, you're a fucking loser. Like, you literally just complain just to complain at that point because the Mets look great in all 4 games. They're looking good tonight already. Like, if you're like –
But here's the thing, like Rojas was always accused of overworking his pen, right?
Right.
He was always accused of pitching the same guys every day. You know, he would pitch Trevor May if the game was like 6-1 and they were losing. And he would pitch these guys no matter what. Showalter's basically telling you, you know what, I'm not going to burn these guys out so early in the season. These guys haven't pitched. Like Chasen Shreve hasn't pitched. Trevor Williams hasn't pitched yet. I mean, why not give them the work? What does it matter? Maybe they need to adapt and maybe they need to adapt to these situations and say, okay, you know what? He's put me in a big spot. I'm going to not let him down. I really don't have any problem with what Buck was saying. And that's the difference with an experienced manager. I mean, if you're already going to second guess Buck after 4 games, I mean, you need to get your head examined a little bit because I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous that we're going to criticize this guy after he just won 3 of 4. And the thing is, like, look, the Nationals are not the Braves. We know they're not the Braves. We know they're not the Dodgers. They're a team pretty much. They could most likely be at the bottom of the NL East this year because they don't really have a lot on their roster besides Juan Soto and Victor Robles and Patrick Corbin. and we don't know when Steven Strasburg is coming back from his injury. But that being said, they're still a division opponent. They're still a division opponent. And getting 3 out of 4 against a division opponent is a nice way to start the season. Watching guys like Starling Marte and Mark Canha have strong weekends. Same thing with Jeff McNeil, who was terrific at the plate. Cano had a good run. Chris Bassett was amazing on Saturday night. 8 Ks in 6 innings. Scherzer had a good first outing for the Mets. And I mean, and here's the one thing I loved about this weekend. So you had the opening night contest because they moved it back a few hours because of the rain in Washington. The game actually didn't start, I think, until like close to 8 o'clock or whatever. And you had McCann got hit twice in the first game, and Alonso got hit. And then the second day, Lindor got hit in the face. Did you see Buck like practically run out of the mound, out of the dugout? That's the shit I want to see from my manager. He was pissed, man. And whether it was intentional or not is irrelevant. Okay? The fact is that these guys, Cishek is a proven veteran, but what was so weird about it, and I'm not accusing Davey Martinez of being dirty. I'm not accusing Washington Nationals of being dirty, but there comes a time where you got to start protecting your players because they're getting beamed out there. So the fact is I loved what Showalter did. Would you think Rojas would have ever done that? You think Rojas would have ever charged the mound, or not even charged the mound, but just come out of the dugout screaming and, all of a sudden almost inciting a bench clearing brawl? That's the shit I want to see from my manager.
Exactly. We haven't seen something like that, especially from the Mets in a long time. Like, I felt like the last few managers that we had between Mickey Callaway and Luis Rojas, you never saw that fight, that fire within them to be like, I gotta lead the charge. Like, you literally saw Buck Showalter leading the charge. I'd be like, what the fuck's going on here? Like, you never saw that from Mickey Callaway. You definitely never saw that from Luis Rojas. You kind of saw it from Terry Collins a little bit, but like, it was like, that's what I want to see, and I was more than happy. And even Lindor was just like, you know what? When I got up, all I saw was the guys on the field ready to go, and I was like, yes, that's what I want to see. Team.
And that's the thing you want to see. Now, you might have wanted retaliation, so you throw at a guy like Soto and all that stuff, but in a way, it was kind of a good thing that it didn't happen. So at the end of the day, while they lost yesterday, the Mets were never going to go 162-0. So with all due respect, it's one loss. You don't make a big deal about it. You move on. They took 3 out of 4 against a division opponent. And no, by the way, this series against the Phillies is not a colossal series to start the season. They play the Phillies 18 times this year. Trust me when I tell you, this is if you want to win games in a division, no doubt. But there's no way that you can pinpoint this series as a make or break series for the Mets. Not after you just won 3 out of 4 over the Washington Nationals.
Exactly.
But I love seeing the new Mets just come into play. Canha, I thought, did a really great job. Lindor got his first home run. Alonso had a grand slam. Starling Marte had a terrific series against Washington. McNeil was really good against Washington. The pitching staff overall was very strong. McGill, Scherzer, Bassett, and Carrasco. And I was really hoping Carrasco had a good outing yesterday because he could be a very underrated piece to this rotation. Even the Mets bullpen, I thought, was pretty good overall this weekend. Getting quality. They got a good appearance from Diaz. You got a good appearance from Lugo. Joely Rodriguez pitched really well in his first game as a Met. Gave him an inning and a third of scoreless relief. So you couldn't have asked for a better way to start the weekend, in my opinion, if you're the Mets.
Mike Laws, season's on the line, Craig.
Yeah, sure, Mike, whatever you say. And I thought you were cool. So, as for the Yankees, look, it's a great way to start the season when you get 2 out of 3 over the Boston Red Sox, your hated rival. Clem, I'm not really big on the Red Sox this year. I don't know why. I just think their pitching without Chris Sale, I think, is going to struggle. Although Evaldi pitched pretty well, so I can't really beat them up too much. But in my opinion, and I don't know, maybe if you want to agree or not, I still think the Yankees are living and dying by the long ball.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it is still home runs. You know, Stanton had 2 home runs in this series. Rizzo had 2 home runs in this series. LeMahieu gets the tying home run on opening day that sends it to extra innings. They just seem like they're still living and dying by the long ball. And I think that's going to happen. Because yesterday, I don't think they had a home run yesterday in the game last night. And they look like they struggled to score runs.
You know what it is? And their offense is perfect for what their pitching is. You know, like, sure, you'll win games because if you're putting up 7, 8 runs, whatever, a game because you have such good power hitters and your pitchers are giving up 4 or 5 runs a game, sure, you'll win those games. But when it comes down to like the long stretch, those games in late August and all of September and in the early October games, that's when it's going to be like, well, shit, you know, we got to fucking figure out like what the hell we're going to do, because we've seen it, like pitching time and time again will win you a World Series. And sure, it'll be nice that maybe the Yankees get to the playoffs. I personally don't think they will this year, but you can only do so much with how much you can hit and what the pitchers can give you.
And the thing is, they didn't get a great outing out of Garrett Cole on opening day. He only went 4 innings. He got hit pretty hard. He gave up 3 runs before he got an out, and against Boston. You know, the injury. You know, I don't know if Montgomery's going to go on the IL because he took a shot off his knee, I think, last night.
Mm-hmm.
But he was pitching okay, but it looked rough. It looked like he had trouble kind of moving around on the knee and everything. But overall, I mean, if you're a Yankee fan, you got to be pretty happy with how they came out of the gate, especially against a team like Boston, who's a team they're going to be fighting and jockeying for a position in the AL East all season long. You know, now you have a bigger test coming in because you got the Blue Jays coming to town. And the Blue Jays some people are predicting them to be the winners of the AL East this year. I mean, the lineup is loaded. The pitching staff is pretty good. You know, with Gausman had a strong first game. You had Alex Manoah had a pretty good, is starting, I think, tonight for the Blue Jays. So these divisional games are huge, but at the same time, they're not backbreaking at this moment. It's just one series. You know,
right.
Talk to me halfway through the season, then we'll see about how important these games really get.
Exactly. You know, we don't have a strong bullpen as it is. You know, people, this is what people complain about. We don't have a strong bullpen. So you don't want to like workload guys like Trevor May and Seth Lugo and Drew Smith. You don't want to give them a huge workload this early on in the season, because when we do need them later on in the season, like I said, in those late August games, September, October games, that's when we're going to need our bullpen. And that's when we're going to need guys like Trevor May, Seth Lugo, et cetera, to be help closing out some of these games.
I mean, did I think it was weird that he went to Chase and Shreve? Yeah, I did. I thought it was a little odd. But at the end of the day, if it works out, he looks like a genius, and we're all praising Buck. I mean, I wouldn't be so quick to second guess this guy off every decision he makes. I think it's a little bit tiresome after a while.
Yeah.
I mean, what I like is what do we got here?
Steven Hendrickson. Yankees are carrying 16 pitchers right now because their starters aren't built up yet to go 90-plus pitches.
Isn't he like the number 1 fan of the Sauna Chronicles, that guy?
Yes. Well, first of all, everyone is the fan. Everyone's the number 1 fan of the Sauna Chronicles. But but yeah, Steve's not wrong though, because
no, he's not.
And he's not wrong. But
go ahead.
I was gonna say, like I just said, like outside of Garrett Cole, you're not going to get many pitchers on the Yankees. They're all question marks, really. You know, like we said, Jordan Montgomery, we really don't know. I like Jameson Taillon, and I hope he does good. Like, I really hope he does what he did last year. And, but again, guys like Luis Severino, Luis Cortez, these are all question marks that you don't know what they're going to do. So the Yankees have to rely on hitting the long ball as much as they can. But like I said, that's not going to work, games down the line. It's going to work now, and it's going to win you. So it's going to win you a decent amount of games. But when it comes down to the nitty gritty, that's when it's not going to work.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Steve Hager said, follow Sauna Chronicles on TikTok. Must watch. Yes, promote the Sauna Chronicles.
I'll take your word for it. Klim, you just babble on in the Sauna Chronicles. What the hell?
That's it. That's what it is. It's just babbling. It's nothing too crazy, but people like it. People generally like the Sauna Chronicles.
It's like when you It's like when you have your like story on Instagram and I hit it, you're like talking like, oh Jesus, what the hell is he talking about now? Like that's so.
Well, that's what some of the guys said. They were just like, yeah, it's way too long because they'll just be like, I'm skipping or like this and everything. Like, well, now I'm on TikTok, so you can either just swipe up or whatever it is.
Did the heat from the sauna just open up your brain cells and you just all of a sudden started to like deliver like all these like. I mean, I can't remember what the hell you were talking about one time, but it was like I jumped in. I'm like, oh fuck, he's still talking about this. What is he doing?
I had people tell me they're like, I just put it on in the background and just listen to it for a hot couple minutes while I like do shit.
Yeah, the Yankees definitely need to trade for a starting pitcher. I don't disagree there. I don't know, man. I get this vibe that they just don't want to trade their prospects to get like a Frankie Montez from the Oakland A's or whoever else might be available. I mean, the Oakland A's are the only team right now that might be willing to wheel and deal. And at this point, Frankie Montez's value just probably went through the roof because Billy Beane is going to try to He's going to try to get the most out. He's going to try to get blood from a stone, basically. So, we don't know about the injury to Montgomery. Taillon is, you have to be wary of the injury. Severino at least gave you a promising start in his first start back. Cole was shaky, though. And I understand that he didn't get up to enough pitches, but again, it's just Tyler McGill pitched 5 innings and gave up no runs, and it was pretty lights out for most of the game. The fact that Cole couldn't even get to the 5th inning, I'm sorry, is a little troublesome for me. And I know it's only one start, but I can't sit here and, we're thinking about last year when Cole got roughed up by the Red Sox in the wild card game and didn't make it out of the 3rd inning. This has kind of been the carryover effect to this year. I'm not saying the Red Sox own Garrett Cole and they are, I'm not saying by any stretch, but 2 blast starts against Boston is not good, especially for a guy that you're paying $324 million for.
Exactly. You're paying that much money for Cole to be lights out every single start. Sure, you can have a bad start every now and again because that's just the game of baseball. People have their bad days. But for that much money, and I'll say the same thing about DeGrom and Scherzer too. Like, sure, you cannot with the amount we're paying them, they can't afford to be bad. We need them to be A+ pitchers every single game, just like the Yankees need Garrett Cole to be that. That's why they're paying them all this money, and that's why the Mets are paying Scherzer and DeGrom that much money.
And the thing is, you gave Scherzer the highest average annual value of the league, and probably I think of all time. And Scherzer gave you, listen, was Scherzer perfect in his first start? No, not really. But he gave you 6 innings, and he gave up 3 runs, but pitched fine. He pitched well. I can build on that as the season progresses.
Right.
With Cole, you're always going to have this little bit of lingering doubt because he's already had, his first start was not very impressive. And again, it was the same team who mopped the floor with him in the wild card game last year. So, yeah, I would be a little concerned if I was a Yankee fan on Garrett Cole. Will he get better? I'm sure he will. But when you pay a guy $324 million, he needs to be a Jacob deGrom, a Max Scherzer, that guy who you can rely on every 5th game to give you a lights out start.
Yeah, and again, we're not doubting. We're not doubting Cole's ability. We know Cole's a top 3 pitcher in this league. It's just that when you're paying him that much money, you need him to play. And when he's literally the only really good pitcher that the Yankees have, a proven pitcher, let me rephrase that he needs to be lights out every single game, because like me and Craig mentioned, sure, the long ball will win you games. That's not the Yankees putting up runs is not the problem with this team. The team is the problem is with the pitching. If the Yankees are putting up 11 runs, that's great. But if the Yankees pitching is putting up 10 runs, it's a little sweaty, especially. I mean, you'll get good days out of Cole, but everyone else after that, I don't know.
But at the same time, Klim, the Yankees, again, like we said, they're living and dying by the long ball. They still rely on the home run ball to score runs.
Right.
And I mean, yeah, it's great. Rizzo's gotten off to a good start with 2 home runs. Stanton has gotten off to a good start with 2 home runs. But at the end of the day, that only gets you so far.
Right.
And the Yankees, one of the things that killed the Yankees last year was their inability to manufacture runs. Getting that timely base hit that drives in 2 runs, or whatever. So you take it as a positive that they won 2 out of 3 against the Red Sox at home. now it comes a case because I think the Yankees could be a very dangerous team. On paper, they are a very good team. But I also think that a few things have to break right for them. And again, their division got better. Their division got a lot better. Can they overcome their problems, for example, with the Baltimore Orioles, who they had a lot of trouble with last year? They didn't play that well against the Orioles last season. Meanwhile, the Rays destroyed the Orioles, and they swept them out of freaking Tampa already. So, good start, got to build on it. You hope Montgomery's injury isn't really terrible. You hope he at least tries to make his next start. But that's where you take it from there. And at this point, if they make a trade for a pitcher, they're going to be giving up a lot. So they have to be prepared for that because I think that's also the key factor. I don't think they want to give up their prospects right now. So, all right, the other big news coming out of the Yankees over the weekend was Aaron Judge turning down a $230 million extension. This, I think it was a 6-year or 7-year contract that would have paid him $213 million. But then with the $17 million he was scheduled to make in arbitration, it all bounced out to $230 million.
Right.
And I will admit that this was a very risky move, I think, by Judge. I didn't know Judge was 30 years old. I thought he was a little younger.
Oh, he is. I thought he was younger too. Shit.
So the contract would have put him in Yankee pinstripes till he's 37, and he would have basically been the new captain of the team. And it's troublesome because it looks like it's going to be something that's going to be a distraction for a lot of the season.
Mm-hmm.
Judge is banking on himself, which, listen, I don't have a problem with because I think it gives him it's his confidence. He's confident in his ability to get through a season injury-free, tear it up all over the league, and then go back. And then all of a sudden, that $30 million annual salary is going to be peanuts to what he could get from another team. So I get that part. But there still comes a major risk. And the major risk is that he doesn't stay healthy. He's had too many injury issues, and I think that's why the Yankees didn't really want to go crazy giving him an insane amount of money a year. $30 million is kind of in line with what Correa got, what a few other players got. Obviously not what guys like Mike Trout got or Francisco Lindor, but still a pretty good piece of change. Now, I don't know if he wants a contract similar to what Lindor got, the 10-year, $340, $350 million deal. The Yankees are not going to commit that kind of money to him. Not 10 years of this. I think let me rephrase that. Not the money is the issue. I think the years is the issue. I think they don't have a problem paying Judge big money, but I think they have a hard time committing 8, 9, or 10 years to that.
And the Yankees really haven't given out big contracts like that because last time they did that, it bit them in the ass with A-Rod, so it hasn't really helped them out. Plus, again, like you mentioned, Aaron Judge has been injury riddled throughout his whole career since he's been brought up as a Yankee. Granted, when he's on the field, easily top 10 player, top 15 player in the league. It's not a question. He's a great player when he stays healthy. But that's the problem, like I just said, when he stays healthy. And that's why the Yankees gave him this offer. And now Aaron Judge is banking on him having a great year. Hopefully that money goes up. It's like, oh shit. But God forbid he gets injured. And I love Aaron Judge. I personally love Aaron Judge. He's one of my favorite players in the league. But if he gets hurt at some point, God forbid, that money's going down. And so are the years. He's not going to get a good contract if he gets hurt. So he's banking on himself to be healthy all year, to play great all year, and then hopefully that the Yankees give him a better contract when the year's up. Because this was a solid contract. I think this was a well thought out contract, 7 years, not too great, not too many years, and solid money. But he's banking on himself right now, and that's a little risky, like you said, Craig.
And listen, a lot of times people like me, people like Klim, Yankee fans, Met fans, doesn't matter what it is, the immediate excuse we pivot to is health. Mm-hmm. We pivot to injuries. We pivot to, he's got to stay healthy. We say that, how many times we say that about any player the Jets bring in for free agency or the Giants bring in? What was the first thing when the Giants signed Kenny Golladay to that huge contract where we both agreed that they were basically bidding against themselves? What was the first thing that came to our minds with Kenny Golladay? It's health.
Can he stay healthy?
Can't stay healthy. And that's an unfortunate part of it. And while it's kind of like it's very cliche to just automatically say, well, yeah, any player, health is always going to be an issue, even if it was a player that's never gotten injured before, right? It doesn't matter. The fact is if that health is always going to be a concern. When you sign a big contract like that, you pray to God that the guy stays healthy. I mean, that's fine. Some guys have the injury history, other guys don't. But at the end of the day, with Aaron Judge, I think the Yankees were just very taken aback because they are concerned. As he gets older, is his body going to break down more? You know, you can't automatically pivot him to a designated hitter role on the team every day because you already have Giancarlo Stanton in that role. And Stanton is not leaving that role anytime soon because he's committed to the Yankees for at least another 4 or 5 years. So,
and like you mentioned with the health, like Aaron Judge is not a regular sized guy. He's a big dude, you know, 6'7", 270, 280 pounds. That's not normal. You know, your body it wears differently the bigger you are and the more muscles and shit you got. Like it wears out differently, and the longer it takes. A 7-year contract, by the time he's like 35, I would say 34, you'll start to see him wear down a little bit. I mean, he still might be Aaron Judge, but at that point, you would want him to be a DH role, and you still have, like you mentioned, you still have Giancarlo Stanton on the team for X amount of years, and who knows what the hell's that going to be.
But it's another kind of like notch in the belt of what has been a very strange offseason to regular season now for the Yankees, right? The Yankees were not in on any of the big time free agents. Cashman was on Evan and Carton and Roberts today, and he basically admitted that they did not make an offer to Freddie Freeman. They did not make an offer to Carlos Correa. Take that how you want it, Yankee fans. Freddie Freeman, I could totally understand, you know, being pissed about making an offer. You already know my opinion about Carlos Correa, and it's very simple. If you are going to sit there and you're going to bitch and complain about the Houston Astros cheating in the World Series, you should not want anything to do with Carlos Correa on your roster.
Mm-hmm.
End of story. If you're a Yankee fan, you should not want anything to do with Carlos Correa on your roster if you know that he was a major culprit in the Astros cheating scandal of 2017. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
So Freddie Freeman, on the other hand, I don't know what Cashman was thinking. Maybe Cashman just didn't want to get involved. Maybe he figured he wasn't coming to New York anyway. Maybe he figured he was going to go to Atlanta, or he lives in California. He was either always going to be Atlanta or the Dodgers. So why am I going to waste my time making an offer if he's not going to come to New York anyway?
Right.
Fair enough. But it's just another weird notch in the belt of what has been just a very strange offseason for the New York Yankees. Because for starters, you didn't go after any of the big-time free agents that you wanted to go after. Instead, you made a deal to get Kiner Falefa and Josh Donaldson. Josh Donaldson, what makes that deal so awkward is two things. Number one, you traded for a guy that literally called out your starting pitcher by saying he only is good if he's doctoring the ball. Okay? And now now look, at the end of the day, could Donaldson and Cole just hash it out? Everything's good. We're focused on the year. Fine. But every time Cole has a shaky outing, Josh Donaldson's going to be standing there like, I told you guys. I told you he wasn't as good as advertised. I mean, you can look at it from that perspective, and you could be pissed off. But at the end of the day, Josh Donaldson's going to be right. Why you would invite that drama into your clubhouse is, to me, very mind-boggling. Mm-hmm. The other part of the problem is you traded for Josh Donaldson, which is fine. But in return, you traded away your gold glove third baseman who was a fan favorite in Gio Urshela. You didn't need Josh Donaldson. That's my point. My point. You did not need Josh Donaldson because you were perfectly fine at third base with Gio Urshela. Okay? If you wanted to move on from Gary Sanchez, that's fine. Gary Sanchez has not been able to live up to his potential, and there's no point in the Yankees waiting around for it because it's not going to happen. It hasn't happened yet. It's not going to happen. It's just like in the movie Mean Girls when Gretchen Wiener goes, you know, she keeps saying fetch, and Regina George is like, you know, stop making fetch happen. It's not going to happen. Well, Gary Sanchez realizing his potential in New York is not going to happen. So he went to Minnesota. And I have to admit this was pretty funny. I don't know if you saw the video when Gary Sanchez he hit a long fly ball, thought it was a homer, so he did a bat flip. He did a bat flip and like a walk down first base, and the guy caught it in left field.
He's
So
done that before.
Yeah, he looked like a total asshole. So, and everything. But what's done is done. So you have the Donaldson trade. You have that. You have the fact that you traded away a very popular New York Yankee and a very good hitter and defender in Gio Urshela. You don't go after Freddie Freeman and Carlos Correa. Carlos Correa, I totally understand if you don't go after him because of the whole Astros thing. I totally respect that. But now you've put yourself in a weird predicament with your best player in Aaron Judge because he thinks you're screwing him over on money, and we know what you think, and that is this is what we think you're worth because, quite frankly, we don't want to be bogged down with a huge salary if you're not going to be healthy all the time.
Exactly.
So it's just another notch in the belt of what has been a very, very strange offseason for the New York Yankees. Very strange by all, and even they didn't even go out and acquire a starting pitcher. They were in talks about Sean Manaea. Sean Manaea got traded to the Padres. They were in talks about Frankie Montez. That never happened. In a way, they watched the Mets go out and sign Max Scherzer to a big contract and trade for Chris Bassett. Okay? So right now, it's such a weird turn of events, which I'm not saying makes the Yankees a bad baseball team. I guess it's just that I'm not used to them playing this role.
Well, no, I said this last week when we were on the show, and as a Mets fan growing up here in New York and everything, Craig, you've seen it too. We've seen the Yankees go out and buy players. Whether it was Roger Clemens or bringing back Andy Pettitte or Gary Sheffield or Jason Giambi or Mark Teixeira, CC Sabathia. The list goes. A-Rod. The list goes on and on and on. It was torturous as Mets fans because it was like, well, we tried our best this offseason. Like, yay. But now going into this year, it was like, holy shit. Like, Craig, me and you going into this offseason, we didn't even come to our minds that Max Scherzer, Starling Marte would even be on our radar. We were hoping for guys like maybe like Kevin Gausman, maybe Alex Wood, somewhat like decent pitchers, but like lower on the list. But now we were like, holy shit, Max Scherzer. Holy shit, we have a starting center fielder now. Oh my God, we got Mark Canha. Wow, we got the Athletics' best pitcher too. It's like, where the hell did this come from? This is what the Yankees used to do. And what the Yankees are doing is what the Mets used to do. Like, oh yeah, we got one guy. We made a trade. We got Josh Donaldson. Woo! Like
that's when DeGrom got hurt. When DeGrom got hurt, he was going to miss a few months. I wasn't really I was upset. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I want DeGrom pitching every day, of course. But we have Scherzer. We have Bassett. We have Carrasco. McGill has been very good for the Mets since he was called up last year. I wasn't too worried. It hurt, but you still have Chris Bassett, who was the ace of the Oakland A's staff last year, and Scherzer, who was the ace of the Nationals before he got traded to the Dodgers. So at the end of the day, it's like I was not the least bit concerned because the starting pitching had so much depth to it, and I couldn't really get upset about things like that. And while it sucks that DeGrom got hurt and everything, what softened the blow is the fact that Scherzer was back, Bassett was pitching, Carrasco was pitching. Okay? And that's it. And I was fine with it. But this has been a very, very strange offseason for the Yankees because, and again, they're trying to bank on all these things breaking right for them. Aaron Hicks getting through a full season. What happens if Aaron Hicks gets hurt? What are you going to do? Who's your center fielder at that point? Who is your center fielder if Aaron Hicks has to miss significant time?
Right now, their outfield, I'm looking at their roster. Their outfielders consist of Joey Gallo, Stanton, Hicks, Judge, and Marwin Gonzalez.
Marwin Gonzalez is not a center fielder. So
he's not. No. None of those guys are center fielders except for Aaron.
By the way, Gallo's been terrible to start the season at the plate. He's been freaking brutal. But it's like, with all due respect, there was no plan to what if Aaron Hicks gets hurt? What are we going to do? I'm not saying you got to go out and sign Starling Marte but you should have something in the works for center field, unless you're going to bring up Estevan Florial.
Right.
So that was part of it. Then now you have an insanely crowded infield where every day one guy is going to get to the bench, because you have Rizzo, you have LeMahieu, you have Torres, you have Kiner Falefa, and you have Donaldson. 5 guys for 4 positions. And Stanton is your designated hitter. So you're not going to bench Giancarlo Stanton. You might give him a day off here or there, but you're not going to bench the guy.
Yeah.
And on top of that, now you have Kyle Higashioka, who's your everyday catcher. It's not a great thing. You have you have a pitching staff that's questionable at best. You have a lot of guys coming back from injury, guys like Severino, Montgomery is a good 5, a 4 or 5, and that's probably it. Taillon pitched well in the second half of the season, struggled in the first half of the season. I mean, right now, there's a lot. It's just been a very, very strange offseason. And now you've exacerbated a little bit more by basically telling Aaron Judge, well, this is what we think you're worth. If you have an inflated value of yourself, that's on you. But this is where we're leaving it off, and we're going to walk away now.
Exactly. And
the last thing you want is Aaron Judge hitting free agency next year.
Yeah, because honestly, if this is what you offered him, and God forbid he does either, whether good or bad, if he does good, the offer's going up. That money's going up. So maybe the Yankees may not be able to afford him. Maybe they want to invest in somewhere else. Who knows? But I'm
going to give Keith credit for this one, and he said it, and it is not out of the realm of possibility. And that is, if Aaron Judge becomes a free agent this offseason, do not sleep on the Mets going after him. Do not sleep on the Mets going after him. They will gladly let Nimmo walk as a free agent, move Starling Marte to center field, and put Aaron Judge in right field. Do not sleep on the Mets going after Aaron Judge.
Look, like I said, the Mets have turned into the Yankees, and the Yankees have turned into the Mets. I personally don't think – and this isn't me being a biased Mets fan. I'm being brutally honest when I'm saying this. I don't think the Yankees are that good this season. I think people are surrounded. They have they have Anthony Rizzo, Aaron Judge. They just names like you said at the beginning of the show. On paper, the Yankees have a good team on paper, but you got to think about it more wisely. Donaldson hasn't been really good since 2015. Rizzo is on the back end of his career. Judge constantly gets hurt. Stanton is hit or miss depending on what year it is. Aaron Hicks is always injured. Joey Gallo can only hit home runs. DJ LeMahieu is really the only bright spot in that whole lineup. But other than that, it's big question marks from everyone. And I don't think this Yankees team is really that good. I'm going to be brutally honest with you guys.
And it's a fair assessment. And again, when you watch the other teams in your division get better, with the exception of the Orioles, okay, because the Orioles, I have no idea what that team's strategy is right now. I cannot figure it out for the life of me. But, you watch the Blue Jays go out and get Kevin Gausman. They go out and get Matt Chapman. They already have a strong rotation with, Ryu, Jose Berrios, Alex Manoah. You have an outfield with Vlad Guerrero Jr. You have George Springer, Bo Bichette, Matt Chapman, just like I said, Teoscar Hernandez. I mean, that team is loaded. That team is loaded. And while Tampa Bay, of course, didn't really do a lot this offseason because they never do, they only added Corey Kluber, was basically their big addition. The fact is that they are still a very good baseball team. So Taijuan Walker had to leave the game, right shoulder irritation.
Yeah, not surprised. He was having problems prior to starting today.
But whatever. So what's done is done. But at the end of the day, it's like you watch teams around your division get better. You already know the Red Sox have a very good offense, and they added Trevor Story in the offseason. Their pitching is still a bit suspect because now Chris Sale's going to be out for a while. So Nate Eovaldi goes right back into that number one role, which I'm not saying he can't do it, but when you have a manager like Alex Cora who does a terrific job managing that team, again, that's another thing that the Yankees have to be aware of. We said it last week. The Yankees could wind up being the fourth best team in that division. It's possible. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but it is possible. I think signing Judge, getting this extension done would have made both sides happy, would have eliminated a major distraction, and that's that. But it looks like it's going to continue on through next offseason because Aaron Judge has pretty much said he's not negotiating a contract during the season. And that puts the Yankees in a very, very tough spot.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's jump to basketball. The NBA season finally came to an end yesterday. The Nets get the play-in game. They'll host the Cleveland Cavaliers tomorrow after they beat Indiana and they beat I forgot who they beat the other day. Can't remember. But so they are going in. Ben Simmons still not sure. He's definitely not going to play in the play-in tournament. If the Nets even get past that and get into the first round, they're still not sure if he's going to play. But as long as you have Kyrie, as long as you have KD, you at least have a fighting chance. So you take it like that. Most likely, though, it could put them against, I want to say Miami in the first round, but I can't really remember. I don't know how the seeding is right now in the NBA playoffs. I think I want to say that Milwaukee is the number one, either Milwaukee or Boston. Because Boston is really, really good.
Looking it up right now. Let's see. Okay, so yeah, the Nets got the playing game against Cleveland, and if whoever wins that game will play Boston, and if they lose, they play the winner. Yeah, if they lose, they play the winner of Charlotte and Atlanta.
Okay. So that's basically where we're at right now there. As for the Knicks, their season came to an end yesterday. They are not in the playoffs, of course. They did beat Toronto yesterday. But, to sum up the Knicks, I mean, I guess disappointing is the easy way to put it. But it was amazing how the expectations were so high for them this year. When they basically brought back the same exact roster from last year, outside of Reggie Bullock. Reggie Bullock was probably the only guy they didn't bring back, and Alfred Payton. But other than that, they brought back Nerlens Noel, who barely played all season long. They brought back Alec Burks, who wasn't nearly as a factor as he should have been. They brought back Taj Gibson, who wasn't much of anything this year. They bring in Kemba Walker with this all big fanfare of, hometown boy is back in New York where he belongs. And it only took 20 games before they made him the scapegoat for their problems, and they benched him, did a little DNP coach's decision on him. Evan Fournier was a good player, but not worth $18, $19 million a year. Now you're running into a situation where you don't even know what Mitchell Robinson's worth is going in because he's an unrestricted free agent. And Julius Randle went literally from the most loved Knick a year ago to the most hated one this year. Fighting back and forth with the fans, not really giving max effort, just really struggling all around. I mean, he had some good games. I'm not saying he did, it wasn't a total wash the whole season, but it was very disappointing for what they paid him. And now his contract comes into play this season. Now, the one thing I laugh about with Knicks fans is they really believe that you can trade Julius Randle for a draft pick. It's not how the NBA works. The NBA is not Major League Baseball. It is not the NFL where you can trade players for draft picks. In the NBA, it is all about matching salaries. If you want somebody to take back Julius Randle's crappy contract, fine. Then you're going to have to take back a shitty contract in return.
Yeah, and that.
And on another level, who the fuck is going to trade for Julius Randle right now? Like, why would I trade for Julius Randle?
Like he put up decent stats this year. Look, he averaged 20 points a game and he almost averaged 10 points, 10 rebounds a game. That's not bad stats. But when you attach a big contract to that, you're not going to get a high draft pick. You maybe get end of the lottery pick, a playoff team's pick. That's what you're going to get for Julius Randle if you want a first round pick. Like you said, he's not a bad player, but no one wants that contract. And like you just said, Craig, it's all about matching contracts. So if you're going to trade Julius Randle, you're going to have to take probably someone in or a bunch of people in who match his contract, which I don't think people are going to do, unfortunately. And again, to even go off of Julius Randle from the Knicks fans are the most delusional. This is why I say Knicks fans are the most delusional fans in the world. Julius Randle last year had an amazing season. He played well over his worth. Like he's always been a very good player. Last year, he was putting up like almost MVP type numbers. And to think that Knicks fans were actually going to see that again this year, they're nuts. They're nuts. It was a flash in the pan. I love Julius Randle. He's always been one of my favorite players since he's been in the NBA. He's been so underrated. But he came to the Knicks, performed out of his ass, and you couldn't expect Julius Randle to do that 2 years in a row. Granted, like I said, he went back to having good seasons. That's all he did this year. He had a good season. But the Knicks fans, again, the only bright spot for the Knicks this year was Julius Randle. I mean, not Julius Randle, RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett had a great year, averaging 20 points a game, 5.5, almost 6 rebounds a game, and 3 assists. That's a great year. It's a great year for a guy who's perpetually been getting better and better each year.
My friend Matt had a pretty good theory on Julius Randle, and he basically said, he goes, the only reason why Julius Randle played so well in Madison Square Garden was because there were no fans. There were no fans in Madison Square Garden last year.
Well, those years he was good. I was gonna say those years he was good on the Lakers. That was the end. That was when the Lakers were ass. So makes sense.
Like he said, he said the Knicks bought into a player who has never been that good in his career, in his entire career, and his numbers came kind of really back down to earth.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
You've committed 4 years and $114 or $15 million to him, which I'm not saying is a bad deal in a way, because you could have paid him a lot more on a max deal. So you be grateful at least you got him for that price.
Yeah.
But this weird notion that you are going to be able to ship Julius Randle to another team after the year he had last year, fighting with the fans, not getting along with his teammates. I mean, like, if I was a team right now, I would want nothing to do with Julius Randle.
Mm-hmm.
You guys gave him the contract. You're going to have to build up his worth, because everybody pivots to this. They're like, oh, well, they could trade him to the Kings and get De'Aaron Fox. Well, if I'm Sacramento, why do I want to give up De'Aaron Fox for Julius Randle? I mean, the Sacramento Kings are a piss poorly run organization anyway, but it's like, so I automatically have to trade you De'Aaron Fox because you want to get rid of Julius Randle? It's that weird sense of entitlement that Knicks fans and Knicks fan on sports radio, this is what they do. They delude themselves into thinking they're going to automatically get these guys. They're going to be able to trade Julius Randle tomorrow and get like 3 first-round picks for the guy and whatever. That's not how the NBA works. All of a sudden now the talk about Donovan Mitchell coming to the Knicks is starting up again, because it always starts up in the offseason. Here come all the crazy players that are coming to the Knicks, Klim. It's like the fucking Macy's Day Parade of superstars on the Knicks that are coming down, 34th Street. Oh, here they coming to Manhattan. Last year was all about Zion Williamson coming to the Knicks. It was all about Luka Doncic coming to the Knicks, Donovan Mitchell, Damian Lillard, and none of those guys came to the Knicks last year. You know who the Knicks got last year that was the big get in a trade? Cam Reddish. Cam fucking Reddish. That's what the Knicks got last year.
And they traded a first-round pick for him.
And he sucked for them too, and he got hurt a few times. Then there was a report that Thibodeau didn't even want Cam Reddish, but the Knicks traded for him anyway.
Yeah, I got Julius Randle's stats up in front of me from his whole career. He averaged 13 points his second year in the league, 13 again, 16, 21, 19, 24 last year with the Knicks, and then 20 this year. He came back down to reality.
But that's what I mean, though. And that's my issue with the whole thing is like the Knicks fan struggles through a bad season. It was a bad season, any way you slice it. Were there some good parts of it? Sure. Emmanuel Quickly, nice player off the bench. Obi Toppin started playing better when the games didn't matter. Okay? Mitchell Robinson, I think he's overrated. I think he's a good center. He's not an elite center, and the Knicks have to be careful they don't overpay for the guy because I didn't think he did anything that was any different than what Jared Allen did or any name a center. Andre Drummond, I think, is playing just as well as Mitchell Robinson. So
yeah, Mitchell Robinson averaged 8 points this year with eight rebounds.
Yeah, I mean, that's not what a starting center should. If a guy's looking for a big contract, I'm not paying him for a crazy amount of money for 8 points and 8 rebounds a season. Yeah. But you've been pushing this theory of all the superstars want to come to Madison Square Garden. Okay? It's time for the Knicks to start pointing the thumb at themselves and saying, why the fuck do these guys not want to come here?
Greg, what have we been saying?
Donovan Mitchell's a big Mets fan, right? Okay, so is that the reason why he's going to come to the Knicks? He's a fucking Mets fan? I mean, who cares? Why would Utah get rid of him? If I'm Utah, I'm like, I'm not getting rid of Donovan Mitchell. He's my best player.
Yeah. Craig, me and you have been saying this for, I would say 3 years now. When everyone was so delusional that the Knicks were going to get KD, Kyrie, and Zion. They didn't get any of those people. Even like you mentioned, like Donovan Mitchell, Luka Doncic. And this goes back to even well before, these past 3 years. Carmelo, New York's boy. Who's he best friends with? LeBron James. Where did that happen? No. Oh, Chris Paul's a free agent. Best friends with Carmelo Anthony. Didn't want to come here.
Paul George was another guy. When Paul George was in his prime, everybody thought Paul George was coming to the Knicks to form a big three with Melo and Chris Paul. And it didn't happen. Everybody thought that Kyrie and Kevin Durant were going to partner up and come to New York and play for the Knicks. Hell, you and I thought it. And it never happened. Nobody wants to come here. Nobody. Not one guy wants to come here. The Knicks need to take a really cold, hard look in the mirror because you keep promising the moon and the stars that these guys are coming. You leave all this cap space open up for yourself to go out and get these big-time free agents. And the best you did last year was Evan Fournier and Kemba Walker.
Exactly. The Knicks fans should have known at the beginning of before the season even ended last year when they got blown out by the Hawks. It was like, okay, that's fine. You got blown out by the Hawks. Like now you build off this. Now you go out and get more pieces to go along with R.J. Barrett and Julius Randle and Mitchell Robinson and Emmanuel Quickly. You go out and get those superstar pieces that you didn't have. But no, they didn't do that. They banked on Julius Randle performing like an MVP again. They banked on R.J. Barrett taking a huge step forward, which he did. He took another step forward. They banked on Mitchell Robinson being a good center. They banked on Emmanuel Quickly potentially being the starting point guard for this team. But then none of that happened. The Knicks did nothing. Nothing this offseason.
But here's the thing, right? Because now the problem is the Knicks are backed into a corner. Leon Rose is backed into a corner. Worldwide West is backed into a corner. Tom Thibodeau is backed into a corner. Because you promised the Knicks fan that you were going to bring these guys in. This was the whole sell on Leon Rose, right, Clem? It was all about his influence with certain players in the league. It was about Worldwide West's relationships with players in the league. And none of these guys are coming here. So I want Worldwide West to get up in front of the Knicks fans and say, I want you to tell them why these guys aren't coming here. How come if you're a Knicks fan, you should be furious because you were deceived. You were deceived into thinking that Leon Rose and Worldwide West had all this influence on all the top players in the NBA. The Devin Bookers and the Donovan Mitchells and the Damian Lillards. And they got none of them. None of them. And when that failed, they had to pivot to a plan B. And plan B was bringing in guys like Bobby Portis, Taj Gibson. I'm not saying these guys are bad players, but they're not going to win you a championship. And now here's the worst part about it. Hypothetically, let's say you do get Donovan Mitchell. What do you think you're trading back to Utah? Because if you want Donovan Mitchell, I want RJ Barrett.
Yeah.
And then, all right, then fuck you. I'm going to go make another trade then with someone else. I don't care if Donovan Mitchell wants to go to the Knicks. That's not my fucking problem. But I'm not going to trade him to the Knicks just because he wants to go there and take some shitty-ass deal back from the Knicks. You want Donovan Mitchell? This guy's going to change your player, your whole offense. I want RJ Barrett.
Exactly. Look what the Lakers had to give up to get Anthony Davis. Granted, I'm not saying Donovan Mitchell's on the same level as Anthony Davis, but they had to give the stars and the moon to get him. Like, they gave up Brandon Ingram. They gave up, I think it was Julius Randle was in that trade as well. They gave up a lot of pieces to go get him. And honestly, look where it's got them. Nowhere. They stink. They stink. The Lakers stink.
And the Pelicans are in the playoffs.
Exactly.
By the way, who would have thought that? Jesus. That's without Zion. I mean, that's pretty crazy right there.
I mean, I've always been a big fan of Brandon Ingram. He was always a great player. I thought it was stupid for the Lakers to go trade.
He's one of those guys that does his job well. And look who wanted to go there. Think about another guy that was rumored to go to the Knicks. CJ McCollum. He pushed to go to the Pelicans. Who pushes to go to the Pelicans? I have never heard another NBA player say, I really want to go play with Brandon Ingram. And that's not a knock on Brandon Ingram. It's just that his superstar status is not near where the Joel Embiids are and the Giannis's are. He's a good, solid player, but you don't hear that from NBA players.
No,
so it's just like for years now, it's been at least 3 years. The Knicks have been teasing the fans with their cap space, and we're going to go for it next year when the free agent class is really big. But here's the downside to that, Klim. All those guys who are free agents can get so much more money staying with their teams. Everybody thought Doncic was good as gone in Dallas and he was coming to the Knicks. What did he do? Signed a fucking supermax.
Yeah. First of all, if people thought that Mark Cuban was going to let fucking Luka Doncic go, you're crazy.
Yeah. Cuban loves him.
Exactly.
And the thing is, you know what he wound up doing? He flipped Porzingis. Because it was just obvious that it wasn't working between the two of them.
Yep.
But you look back on this season and you say to yourself, here's what I don't really get about the Knicks. It's like they have all this young talent. Even the guys they drafted this year, Miles McBride and Grimes, were pretty good. And then they bring back the same exact guys from last year. Why would you bring back the same roster? What? You brought back Derrick Rose and gave Derrick Rose a 3-year contract. Why? Why did you just give him a 1-year deal? Yeah. Now the guy's damaged goods. Noel barely played last year. You gave him, I think, a 3-year deal.
The Knicks shot themselves in the foot this year by not going out and at least attempting to go get a superstar. They went out and they got an injured player in Kemba Walker. They signed back an injured player in Derrick Rose, and they signed Evan Fournier. Evan Fournier is only as good as coming off the bench. He's not a starter. He's not a superstar player. $20 million a year, is it? No, the Knicks needed that superstar player, and they banked on Julius Randle.
But then they try to sell you on, this is what we wanted to do from the beginning.
Oh.
I mean, come on. You're trying to con a con man at this point. Because, again, it's just Leon. And then what happens, Klim? Leon Rose and World Wide West, they all go into hiding. No, they don't want to talk to the press. They don't want to talk to the media. They don't want to talk to the Knicks season ticket holders, the people who pay big money to go to games at Madison Square Garden. I don't know what else to really say.
Again,
so it's back to the same, what is your plan for this offseason? What are you doing this offseason? Are you going to go out and go try to – do you have to overspend to bring guys in? I don't know.
That's what it's going to have to be that because, like, again, like this goes back to Carmelo. Like, no one wanted to come play here. Even when Carmelo was at his best, no one wanted to come play for the Knicks.
The last guy that I saw that wanted to come here and was like signed, sealed, and delivered, I love it here, is Amari Stoudemire.
Yep.
Amari Stoudemire was the last player. Nowadays, it's R.J. Barrett. But Amari Stoudemire was the guy who was a free agent, who signed with the Knicks, who embraced being in New York, who embraced being that leader at Madison Square Garden. They don't have that guy now. That guy is long gone. That guy is long gone. And if you want to know why the Lakers were so bad this year, there's a lot of reasons. Number one, everyone knew the Russell Westbrook trade was not going to work out for the Lakers. He did not fit what they like to run. Anthony Davis got hurt and missed the entire season. You know, LeBron was LeBron. He's a good player. He's a great player still. He's getting old, though. They bring in Melo, who's also old, who's not the player he used to be. And they let some key guys go. Guys like Alex Caruso, who was a good guy off the bench.
Mm-hmm.
Quality player. They let him go to the Bulls. I think it was the Bulls.
Yeah, Bulls.
You know, they traded away Kyle Kuzma. They traded away Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. Those were good players on the roster. Better than what they had. That's why the Lakers suck. And oh, by the way, the Lakers really haven't drafted anybody in a long time. I think Brandon Ingram was their last high pick. Might be time to like maybe rebuild the roster a little bit. I understand the Lakers are always challenging for a title, but I mean, give me a break. Now you got to find somebody to take Russell Westbrook again. Who the fuck is going to take him now?
God, that's embarrassing.
But pivoting back to the Knicks, it's very simple. You have been duped. You have been deceived year after year if you're a Knicks fan. You have been so convinced that these guys are all coming to Madison Square Garden, and none of them have come here. If Damian Lillard wanted to come here, he would have fucking been here by now. Okay? If CJ McCollum wanted to be here, he would have been here by now. None of these guys want to come to Madison Square Garden. They don't want the burden of trying to lift the Knicks out of purgatory and making them a serious contender. Shit, I'm not even sure if Donovan Mitchell wants to come to the Knicks.
I'm looking at right now. I'm looking at the potential free agent class for this upcoming year. It's not too appetizing.
Who is it?
Really,
Run it down.
You got James Harden, Westbrook, Beal, Irving. Those are the big names.
First of all, Kyrie's not going anywhere. He's staying in Brooklyn. He's going to stay in Brooklyn. Yeah. He's not leaving Kevin Durant.
Then you have guys like
Bradley Beal's an interesting kind of, Bradley, but these guys all are like fucking sign and trades. They're all going to be sign and trades. Bradley Beal's going to be part of a sign and trade to get somebody else.
Yeah.
All right.
And then Harden,
nobody wants Harden on their team. Harden is he's a cancer. And he's under a lot of pressure because he pushed to be traded from two different teams over the last few years. So the burden is going to be on him big time to win a championship in Philadelphia.
Yeah, then you got guys like Gary Harris, Zach LaVine, Ricky Rubio, Joe Ingles, Nurkic, T.J. Warren, Robert Covington, Jeremy Lamb. All average guys. Like, these aren't been like, oh, I need to go get that guy, or I need to go get Pat Connaughton, or Colin Sexton. Like,
Joe Ingles is hurt. He was hurt all last year. He got traded on an injured contract. Who was the guy before Ingles you mentioned?
Who did I mention before? Where is it? Where's the list? Where's this? Ricky Rubio.
He's useless to them. He's useless.
Yeah, T.J. Warren, like Jeremy Lamb. These are all just guys. It's not the guys like you mentioned. Kyrie's not going anywhere.
Listen, they're good players, but they need superstars around them to be better.
Yeah.
And the thing is right now, if you do, first of all, you're not going to just be able to sign Bradley Beal to a contract. You're going to probably have to work out a sign and trade with the Wizards because that's how it works. Because you have to fit him under the cap.
Yeah.
So who are you trading to Washington? And the thing is, Bradley Beal's really given no indication he wants to leave Washington.
Right.
He likes it there from what I've read. I mean, he wants to stay there, but it depends on if they want to keep him and give him big money.
He's got a player option, so it's literally gonna be on Bradley Beal if he wants to stay.
But again, the first step to solving the problem is you have to get the superstars there. Whatever Leon Rose and Worldwide West are doing, it's not working. It's not working. And then the worst part about it is they're hiding because they don't want to admit that they sold the Knicks fans on a pile of shit.
Yep.
Because that's exactly what it is. It's a pile of shit. Because if you pivot from the big free agents and you don't get any of those guys, but then you turn around and you wind up signing Nerlens Noel and, that's a complete 180 from what you were doing. A complete 180. But we'll see how it plays out. But right now, I mean, nothing the Knicks have done or accomplished leads me to believe that these superstars want to come here. All right, before we close out the show, we want to do, we are a little bit over 2 weeks away from the NFL draft. This is my favorite time of the year. I wish the fucking draft was in 2 days because I'm so tired of reading the mock drafts. I'm so tired of debating with Jet fans on the pages. It's just, it's ridiculous, already. So what we're going to do is we're not doing a mock draft because that would be a waste of time. So we're going to pinpoint maybe a couple of areas where the Jets and Giants want to go to in the draft. Both have 2 picks in the top 10. The Jets at 4 and 10, the Giants at 5 and 7. And it's going to be interesting because there's a lot of drama going around with certain players. There's a healthy debate now of which wide receiver could be the best one in the draft. There are so many other things going around. Now there's also a lot of, there's a lot of uncertainty on who the number 1 pick is going to be. We automatically assumed it was going to be an offensive lineman like an Evan Neal or an Ike Ekwonu. But with the Jaguars putting money into players like Brandon Scherf and Cam Robinson, are they going to go for an offensive lineman in the first round with the first pick? When you've already hemorrhaged a pretty good piece of change on, quite frankly, an injury-prone offensive guard and an average offensive tackle. So the first question that comes up it's about Kayvon Thibodeau. Are the knocks on Kayvon Thibodeau overblown? So this is what kind of made me laugh because I thought about this and I start to ask myself, is this just stuff being put out there to deter teams so another team can kind of swoop in and land them? Okay. The knocks on Kayvon Thibodeau have been lately that, he's not 100% committed to football and, he's more concerned about his brand. Okay. Now, my counter to that is, well, in order for Kayvon Thibodeau to have a successful brand, he needs to play good football.
Yeah.
So basically, needs the other. You need to be a successful football player to have a strong brand. If you're a shitty football player, then you have a shitty brand.
Mm-hmm.
So I would leads me to believe that a guy who is very concerned about his brand is going to want to put his best effort out on the field. So people go, holy shit, Kayvon Thibodeau could be one of the best pass rushers in NFL history.
Exactly.
One cannot survive without the other. If he wants to have a successful brand off the field, he needs football. He needs to play good football. He needs to show people that he is seriously committed to being a good quality football player.
Right.
And that is why I say that these things about Kayvon Thibodeau are completely overblown.
I think so too. And I'm all for Kayvon being here. I mean, you put him besides Carl Lawson on opposite ends of the D line, Oh my goodness, it's going to be a problem. Like it really is going to be a problem. I fully believe that if the Jets draft Kayvon Thibodeau, him and Carl Lawson will have 8 sacks each, 8+ sacks each. I fully believe that.
That's what I mean. So here's my thing. There's no way the Jets are going to pass up on Kayvon Thibodeau if he falls to number 4. And that seems to be the general consensus right now, that there's a good chance he's going to be there at number 4. The best thing if they decide not to go with Kayvon Thibodeau, the best course of action is hope he doesn't make it to 4. Hope he gets drafted 1, 2, or 3. So that way you can kind of figure it out on what you're going to do. And at that point in time, if Kayvon Thibodeau is gone by number 4, then I start to think about shopping the pick.
Really?
I think about shopping the pick.
Okay. See, that's where I think you and I that's why I think you're wrong. And Craig, we usually agree. I think you cannot trade that 4th overall pick whatsoever.
Okay. But who are you taking?
If Kayvon Thibodeau is not there at 4, it may be an overdraft. I don't care. We go out and draft Sauce Gardner.
See, again, it's not that I don't think Sauce Gardner is a really good player, but what have Bryce Hall and Brandon Eccles done to warrant losing the job for the second cornerback job?
They haven't. And I agree with you that they've been very good. I mean,
like, do you agree that Bryce Hall in 2 years has been a good corner for the Jets? Not a great corner. I'm talking a good corner.
Good, exactly. No, that's the thing. He is a good corner. That's the thing. Sauce Gardner is going to be a great corner the second he steps on the field. And to put him alongside the addition of DJ Reed, Bryce Hall, Brandon Eccles, and Michael Carter, we'll have a stacked secondary right then and there. So you go into the season, say we don't even draft a pass rusher in our first round. You go in with a healthy defensive line of Carl Lawson, Quinnen, Sheldon Rankins, and then JFM, with a secondary of Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed, Bryce Hall, Brandon Eccles, and Michael Carter. I'll sign me up for that. I'll take that any day of the week, but only if Kayvon is not there. I can't stress it. We cannot take a lineman at 4. We cannot do it. And I know Mike Walsh is watching because he's advocating for Evan Neal. We can't take a lineman.
I don't want Evan Neal. All right, so let's see something right now. Okay, so I just did a mock draft simulator right now, and I'm at number 4. So the beauty of, if you're going to do a mock draft simulator, by the way, the Pro Football Network one is awesome because they do trades. They offer you trades for the pick.
Right.
Okay? Now I'm Trader Moff. Like, I love trading for picks. So I have one trade offer right now. It's from the Kansas City Chiefs. So the trade is number 4 for number 29, number 30, number 50, and a second-round pick next year. So I have 3 first-round picks. I have 3 second-round picks. And I have a second-round pick for next year. But I have to go all the way to 29. So you got to think about it from that. So that puts you at 29, 30, 35, 38, and 50.
See, I just can't trade the 4th overall pick. I can't do it. I cannot do it. And unfortunately, I don't see teams trading it, because if you're going to trade up into 4, it's got to be for a quarterback. And I don't see any teams doing that.
Thibodeau's available. So he hasn't been drafted yet. So I'm going to draft Kayvon Thibodeau, and I'm going to go to 10. Okay? So let's see. Okay, so I have 2 trade offers now for the number 10 pick. Did I just lose Klim? Oh, Jesus Christmas. So I'm going to trade that pick. I'm going to try to trade down in that pick.
My bad. I pressed the back button on the wrong because I also have my mock draft simulator up as well. I hit the wrong button on the wrong thing.
Okay, so you tell me. Okay, so here's the trade offer I have. This is for number 10.
Okay.
Okay, there's 2 trade offers.
Right.
The first one, number 10 and number 69 to Arizona
Okay.
for number 23, number 55, number 87, and next year's second round pick.
No, can't do it.
Okay.
Can't do it. If I'm trading that, I need someone's next year's first pick. I need a first pick next year.
That's fair. That's actually, I agree with you. I definitely agree with you that I would need a first round pick. This would give me, well, honestly, it wouldn't be that good of an offer. Really?
No, the simulator I do, it also does trades, but it comes with that stupid noise. That's why.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, I have it. This is what I have so far at 4. So far, Aiden Hutchinson, Malik Willis, and Evan Neal went off the board.
So I wouldn't even trade 4. I would take Kayvon.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I'm taking Kayvon at 4. Makes the most sense.
Now at number 10, I have 1 trade offer from the Chargers that gives me number 17, a second round pick next year, and a 5th round pick next year. I would say no to that. I don't think that's a good trade.
No, I see. If I'm trading back from 10, I need a first round pick next year. I need it.
7 picks, 7 slots is not that bad.
No, it's not that bad. No, I say the Jets, if they do trade back, it can only be between either picks 11 through 20. Anything after that, you can't do it.
Okay. So I'm going to reject this trade. Now, here's who's left out of the picks.
Okay.
This is their ranking, so you take it for what it is. Kyle Hamilton, Jordan Davis, Jermaine Johnson, Jameson Williams, Derek Stingley, Karlaftis, Devin Lloyd is available, Drake London is available, and Chris Olave is available.
Personally, I would either go one of the wide receivers, not Jameson Williams. I would either go Drake London or Chris Olave, or because the Jets linebackers suck ass, I'd go Devin Lloyd.
Okay. I would probably draft Drake London.
Okay.
I think his size is a good complement to Corey Davis and Elijah Moore. He can catch, he's very good on contested balls, like in, catching, and he'd be a really, really good red zone threat. But
see, Saul's at 4. See?
Disagree, man. I disagree.
Only if Thibodeau's not there, though. That's the only way I'll take Sauce.
I honestly would trade. I would shop the pick.
Can't do it.
Why?
Do it. I can't trade 4. It's too valuable of a pick, and no one's trading up to go get a Sauce Gardner or a Kayvon Thibodeau. You only trade up to 4 if there's a quarterback that you like.
If Kayvon is there, I'm not trading the pick. However, if Kayvon is taken before I pick at 4, I'm going to at least see if I can get a really good offer. If I can get a first-round pick next year on top of the first rounder I get this year, why not?
I mean, I have no problems in Joe Douglas's trading abilities. We've seen it time and time again. The fact that he got 2 firsts for Jamal Adams and a second out of Sam Darnold is still amazing. So I have no problems in what he if he does trade something, I have no problem that I know we're going to get a decent chunk of change back. But I just can't justify trading the 4th overall pick.
So the answer to the question is, do you think that Kayvon Thibodeau, the drama with Kayvon, is overblown? You think it's a yes?
Yeah, I think it's overblown, definitely.
All right, so now number 2. You just mentioned his name. Is Jameson Williams a realistic option for the Jets at 10?
No.
Why?
He's not.
Why?
Because the dude blew out his knee last year. In the championship game. So he's not going to be ready by week 1. These guys that we're drafting at 4 and 10, even if we keep the 10 pick, say we do keep the 10 pick, we're picking these guys at 4 and 10. They need to play all 17 games this year. No excuses. They need to play. I need them going from the get-go. I need I need Kayvon Thibodeau playing all 17 games at defensive end. I need Drake London playing wide receiver for all 17 of those games. You can't be banking on especially a top 10 pick like that.
You're not wrong.
It can't be an investment pick.
Okay. Here's where I would say Jameson Williams would be a viable option. That is if you were able to get another receiver. Like, for example, if the Jets had made a trade for DK Metcalf, the Jets had made a trade for A.J. Brown, then I would consider drafting Jameson Williams. Because then I can let him take his time and heal. Because I already got Corey Davis, I've already got DK Metcalf or A.J. Brown or whatever, and I already have Elijah Moore. Would you agree?
Agree.
Okay.
If Jameson Williams didn't get hurt, he'd be a top wide receiver. So if the doctors clear him, he's the pick.
You know what? Steven's right. I hate, he's right.
He's absolutely right. I love Jameson Williams.
Well, here's the thing.
Great talent.
Now understand it from your point of view, and I actually agree with you. Zach needs guys that can go week one.
Yeah.
You can't wait 3 or 4 weeks for your first round pick to make it onto the field. That means he's not going to be practicing. He's not going to be doing much of anything except for, conditioning and like strength training and all that stuff. But he's not going to know the offense in and out of anything. For me, while I think Jameson Williams will be a very good receiver, I can't justify drafting him because I need a guy that can start right away. And I don't have that with him, but I will have that with either Garrett Wilson or Drake London. Even though I know Drake London hurt his ankle or something like that, but I think he's going to be fine.
Exactly. And this is what I say to the same people who who say that the Jets need to take an offensive lineman at 4. You can't take an offensive lineman at 4 because you, as the Jets, have to be in the mindset that Mekhi Becton is going to be ready for week 1 and ready to play all 17 games. Mm-hmm. And if you say you do take Evan Neal, the dude from NC State, at 4, cool, you have a great offensive lineman right there. But then Mekhi Becton's ready to go all season, and George Fant has proven time and time again that he deserves to be the tackle on this team.
Well, here's why I'm not big on. I don't. It's not that I don't think Iguana will be a very good lineman. I think he's going to be the top lineman in the league. But if the Jets are already talking to George Fant about an extension, and you have Mekhi Becton, then Ike Iguana is going to be a guy who's, you're not drafting him to be a swing tackle.
Exactly.
You're drafting him to be an offensive lineman on day 1. And the thing is, I would understand the pick a little bit more if you didn't sign Laken Tomlinson, if you didn't have Elijah Vera Tucker, but you do have those guys. So the need for an offensive lineman, I think, really it's on the back burner. So that's it. End of story. That's why I'm not saying it would be a bad pick, but I would be disappointed if it was Evan Neal or Ike Iguana.
Yeah, I have full confidence that Ike Iguanu and Evan Neal will be great tackles in this league. I have no doubts in that. But again, you as the Jets have to prepare that Mekhi Becton is going to be ready for all 17 games this year. You have to know George Fant, again, has proved more than enough last year that he can play left tackle in this league.
Okay.
You can't draft. You need, like I said, you need guys who are going to play all 17 games from the get-go.
That's why I would lean towards Garrett Wilson or Drake London with my number 10 pick.
Yes, same.
In fact, I would consider trading down a little bit from 10 to see if I can get Drake London a little bit later, because I don't think Drake London's going to go 10th overall.
No, I agree with you there.
If you have your heart set on Drake London, then I think you can probably trade down a little bit to see if a team will bite and give you like an extra pick.
No, you're absolutely right. And I think it'll be a toss-up with what the Jets want to do at 10. There's so many options they can go with. Like you said, especially if they go Thibodeau at 4. Let's say they do go Thibodeau at 4. Mm-hmm. The Jets still need help at linebacker. They can use more corner depth if they really needed to. They could go out and get a wide receiver. They can go out and who knows? There's plenty of options for the Jets at 10. They could trade back, like you mentioned. Maybe they were like, you know what? Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave are here at 10, but we know Drake's going to be here at 15. So let's trade with the Eagles. Let's see what they got.
So, continuing my mock draft simulator. So far in the first round, I have Kayvon and I have Drake London. Those are my 2 ones.
Okay.
So now I've been offered a trade with the Vikings. Pick 35 for pick 46 and a 3rd rounder next year.
So trade 35 for 35 for 46 and a 3rd next year.
Yeah.
No, can't do it.
All right. So here's who's available. You tell me who you like. Kenyon Green, Tyler Lindenbaum, Perry and Winfrey, the defensive tackle from Oklahoma, David Ojabu, Boy Mafe from Minnesota, Travis Jones from UConn, Jahan Dotson from Penn State, Chad Muma from Wyoming, or Christian Harris from Alabama.
And we already and in your situation, we already drafted Thibodeau and Drake London, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, I would either go the dude from Michigan.
Ojabo, even though he's out for the season.
He is out for the season. I didn't know that.
20
Okay, I did not know that. Never mind. I would probably go either Christian Harris or Chad.
That wouldn't necessarily be a bad pick if you were playing for next year, because then you would have Kayvon and Ojabo.
And that's the linebacker, right, from Michigan?
He's a pass rusher. Yeah, he's like defensive.
All right. I mean, I think I'd probably either go Christian Harris or Chad Moma there in that situation.
I like Chad Moma a lot, but I remember I have pick 38. So I have to be mindful of that. One thing that's gone under the radar that's very true, the Jets need some interior line help. After they lost Foley Fatukazi, I mean, that's still a fairly big loss to their defensive line.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is, for this pick, I'm going to take Travis Jones from UConn. 6'4", 325. So now let's see if I get an offer for 38. Here we go. 38 from the Seahawks. Pick 38 and pick 111 for pick 40 and pick 72.
So pick 38 and which one?
111, which is be the 4th round.
Okay.
In return, I get pick 40, which is 2 spots down.
Okay.
And pick 72. So now I have an extra 3rd rounder, but I lose a 4th rounder.
I would do that deal. I would do that.
Okay.
Because we already have 2 fourths as it is, so you can afford to give up one, and now you're adding another 3rd into that pick where we only have 1/3 pick. So I'm taking that deal.
So now I'm at pick 40, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I've gotten an offer from the Denver Broncos. Pick 40 and pick 146 to Denver for pick 64, pick 75, and pick 96.
Nah, I can't do it. Can't do it. Good draft. Take the guys we have now, where we're at now, and then let's see where we're at.
Okay. So here's who's left. Moma's still there. Jahan Dotson is still there. Drake Jackson, the edge from USC, is there. Christian Harris, the linebacker, is there. If you wanted to go receiver, Alec Pierce is still there from Cincinnati, and George Pickens is still there from Georgia.
I think this is where you go linebacker.
And Tyler Lindenbaum is still there.
I think Tyler Linderbaum is going to go way sooner, but like I said it at 36. I'm going to say it here too. You got to go linebacker. The Jets linebackers were atrocious last year, outside of C.J. Mosley.
So Chad,
you put a guy like Chad Moma or Christian Harris alongside C.J. Mosley and Quincy Williams. That's a decent linebacker core right there. I'll take that.
All right, so the next question, Klim, is very simple. Do you think there is a surefire number 1 pick?
No.
I agree.
Because the Jaguars can go anywhere with this pick. They could go with Aiden Hutchinson. He's a great player. I think he's going to be on the same level as Joey Bosa and Nick Bosa in that category. But they also need offensive line help, so they could go in a direction of Evan Neal or Ike Ekwonu. it's really up for grabs, and maybe we'll have our girl on, Taylor Dahl, in the future, and she can give us some insight.
Yeah, get on that. We got to try to get her on before the draft.
I'll message her.
See, the thing with me is like I keep leaning towards the fact that Aiden Hutchinson is going to be the number 1 overall pick, where the draft could really go into a bit of a not a downward spiral, but just a real hard right off the track. Is if the Lions draft Malik Willis, which I've seen in a few mocks. Now I don't know if that's going to be the case, because I think if you're taking Malik Willis number 2 overall, you either are absolutely in love with this kid or you don't know what the hell you're doing.
Yeah.
So, and then come the Texans at 3, and the Texans are going a lot of different ways. They definitely need offensive line help. The Texans are in a position right now where they need to, if you're going to move forward with Davis Mills as your quarterback, you have to find ways to build around him.
Mm-hmm.
And that means you got to look for an offensive lineman. Maybe an Ike Iguana would be great for that. On the other side of Laramie Tunsil. Then you have your bookend tackles for the next, I don't know if they're going to keep Laramie Tunsil, but that's another story. But you just got Brandon Cooks back on a 2-year deal, so he's staying in Houston. You have young receivers, guys like Brevin Jordan, who you drafted last year, Nico Collins, who you drafted last year. You got to build that team around Davis Mills. If that's where you want to go with your quarterback.
Right.
And then from there, it'll figure out what the Jets are going to do. Now, listen, the Texans could also go with pass rush, and they could say, okay, we're gonna draft Kayvon Thibodeau because how can we pass up this guy? And they wouldn't be wrong in doing that. But something tells me that if the Jets are picking 4th, I don't see it being Sauce Gardner.
I only see it Sauce Gardner in the situation of Kayvon's not there. Because I can't see them trading back, and I can't see them drafting an offensive lineman.
You can't see Joe Douglas trading back for picks.
Not at 4. Not at 10, yes. I can see it 100%. Not at 4.
If I got you a first-round pick next year, would you trade out of 4?
It would need to be like the Lions first-round pick next year. That'd be the only way. But again, like
why would the Lions trade with you though if you're already traded? If they've already taken a guy at 2?
Exactly, that's the point. But again, the Panthers would be the only liable team to trade up to 4, because you don't trade up to, like I said before, you don't trade up to 4 to go get a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau or an offensive lineman like Evan Neal or Kyle Hamilton. You trade up to 4 to get a quarterback. And granted that this quarterback class isn't great. No, I don't see anyone really trading up to 4 to get it. So, granted, they will send the moon. Whoever the Jets would trade with at 4, they would get the moon because
I'm going to disagree with you a little bit there, because I do think that teams would trade up for Iguana if they really liked Iguana. If they liked Evan Neal, they would trade up for Evan Neal. Right now, I don't know, like, for example, what is a team like the Falcons going to do? Are they going to draft a quarterback at 8, or are they going to try to build, get receivers? Garrett Wilson has been mocked lately to the Falcons as a wide receiver because they don't have Calvin Ridley. So that's a possibility. But the answer to the question, no, there really isn't a surefire pick. It's been all over the place. Evan Neal has been projected in some drafts going number 1 overall. Aiden Hutchinson's projected to go number 1 overall. Iguanu's been projected to go number 1 overall. So no one knows anything right now. So no, it's not a Trevor Lawrence draft. It's definitely not a Trevor Lawrence draft.
Right.
What should the Giants do with their 2 first-round picks?
First pick's got to be offensive lineman. I don't care who's there. I don't care if they're overdrafting, underdrafting, whatever it is. They got to go offensive lineman. Okay. I don't care if it's Charles Cross, if Iguanu last, Evan Neal last, Trevor Penning, whoever it is, they got to go offensive lineman.
Iguanu would definitely be very good for them because they could put him on the other side of Andrew Thomas, and now you have your bookend tackles for the next 10 years.
And I will say Andrew Thomas did look a little bit better last year. Still not great, but better. Improving a little bit. But the rest of that offensive line is atrocious. Will Hernandez stinks. Matt Pert isn't that good. I don't even know who their
Will
center.
Hernandez, I think Will Hernandez is gone. He's not even on the
Yeah,
team.
he's terrible. He stinks. Stinks.
See, I think they're going to wind up. Something tells me with that 5th pick, they're going to take Sauce. If he doesn't get past 4 to the Jets, I think they'll take Sauce 5th.
Yeah, since you did the Jets, I'll do the Giants mock draft. Okay. So let's see. Let me get this started going and see what they got. Where are the Giants? There they are. Okay. All right. Okay, so no trade offers were given to the Giants, but off the board so far has been Aiden Hutchinson, Malik Willis, Evan Neal, Trayvon Walker to the Jets. And I would, if I'm the Giants and Ike Ekwonu is sitting right there for me, I'm taking Ike Ekwonu.
Anybody make an offer to you yet?
Nah, no one made an offer to me.
Okay, so take Ekwonu.
Yeah, gotta take Ekwonu. Okay, so now you heard the phone, so I got a call for a pick.
It's like dealing.
Okay, so one offer was the Ravens offered the Giants the 14th overall pick, the 45th overall pick, and the 100th overall pick for the 7th overall pick.
That's not a bad trade, man. But here's the problem, though. This is where the Giants have to be careful. They can't pay they can't afford to pay all their draft picks right now. They still have to trade James Bradbury. I think they still have to cut salary. So adding on more picks is not a good idea because then you got to pay more players, especially first-round talent and second-round talent.
And the other offer was from the Saints. They offered the 16th overall, the 49th overall, and the 120th overall pick for the 7th. I don't know. I don't think I would do any of those trades if I'm the Giants.
It depends on if the guy you really want is there. You have to have. If it,
Right now. Yeah, right now.
See me, I'm a trader. I will trade everybody. Like, I love trades. I love draft day trades more than anything. So I have no problem making that trade. I would make the Ravens trade. I wouldn't make the Saints trade.
Right now, Thibodeau, Gardner, Hamilton, Jermaine Johnson, Garrett Wilson, Stingley, London, Jordan Davis, all these guys are still available. Trevor Penning.
I would take Sauce.
See, I would go Thibodeau here if I'm the Giants.
Yeah, but you need a cornerback to replace Bradbury.
But that's if they cut him, though.
They have to cut him. They can't afford to pay him.
It's true. But they still have, what's his face? What's Logan Hall. Is he not?
No, they got rid of him, too.
Oh, they got rid of him? Oh, shit. I thought he was still on the team. Let me see what that. Yeah, let me.
I mean, I'm not sure what their depth chart is, but.
Okay, yeah. So I'm looking at their. Oh, yeah, they definitely need some corner help because they only, like you said, they're going to probably cut James Bradbury. And after that, they only have Adoree Jackson and 2 scrubs. So, yeah, they definitely. Oh, you're right. I would say Sauce Gardner here for the Giants.
All right. And then this is a proposed deal I saw online by one of the analysts, and you tell me what you think, all right?
Okay.
Okay. This is for the Jets and the Seahawks. I know you're not a big fan of trading number 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So the Jets will trade number 4 and pick number 111 to the Seahawks. And in return, the Jets get pick number 9, a 2022 5th-round pick, and a 2023 first-round pick. I think it's a good deal. I would do it. Then I pick 9-10.
I don't know.
Then you know what I would do? I would see if the Saints wanted to trade me the 2 first-rounders they just traded to get with the Eagles.
So we would get the Seahawks pick. We would swap first with the Seahawks this year and get their first next year.
Yes. But now remember, I think they have 2 first because they made the Russell Wilson trade.
See, I would really have to think long and hard about that because I would have to see who is there at 9 because, again, it's very hard to pass up a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau and Sauce Gardner. I don't know if I don't even know if Trayvon Walker.
Again, I'm only trading that pick if Thibodeau is off the board. If Thibodeau is available at number 4, I am taking him, no questions asked. Now, people will turn around and say, well, you could draft Jermaine Johnson, but I don't know if Jermaine Johnson to me is not a number 4 overall pick.
I don't think he's a top 10 pick.
Thibodeau is the only guy I'm considering with that pick. After that, I have to see. I got to think about it. I got to see if teams call me for a player.
I don't know, man. It's interesting. I will say that going into this draft, there's question marks everywhere. For not only for the Jets, but like we mentioned, for the Jaguars, the Lions, the Texans, the Giants, the Panthers, all over the place. Even like I just said, the Panthers. Panthers may go Malik Willis. They may stick with Sam Darnold for another year. Who knows? Who the hell knows? I kind of like that going into this year because the past few years, it's like, yeah, we know Baker Mayfield's going to go over on. We know Chase Young's going to go to the Redskins. We know all this other shit. We don't know this year. I'm kind of excited going into this year.
See, again, so I just did one. Now I have 3 trade offers for the number 4. Okay? So here's the first one. To the Seahawks for pick number 9 and pick number 41. Would you do that one?
So 4 for 9 and 41.
Mm-hmm. Now you have 3 second-round picks, and you still have and you pick 9 and 10.
No. If I'm trading the 4th overall pick, I need a first-round pick next year. I need whatever pick. That's the only way I will trade for. If I'm getting a first-round pick next year.
Okay. Second offer from the Falcons.
Okay.
Pick number 4 and pick number 69. For pick number 8.
Okay.
Pick number 43 and pick number 58. So
I like these trades.
You still have 2 1s because you have 8 and 10. Mm-hmm. And now you have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 second-round picks.
I don't know, man. I really don't know because, like I said, I like that deal, but I just can't justify trading the 4th overall pick if I'm not getting another first-round pick next year.
Now, keep in mind, Kayvon is available.
Okay.
Makes you think. See me? I would have done this trade, no doubt.
It does make me think. Like I'm thinking about
Thibodeau, then I would have drafted Jermaine Johnson. I would just drafted Jermaine Johnson at 8, and then take my receiver at 10.
Like I said, the only 2 guys I can justify the Jets drafting at the 4th overall pick, the 4th overall pick, are Kayvon and Sauce, or Aiden Hutchinson if he magically falls.
In the second round, I want you to think about this. In the second round, I'd be picking 35, 38, 43, and 58. You could get 2 pass rushers. You can get an additional pass rusher in that round on top of Kayvon Thibodeau.
You can get linebackers. You can get the safety you need. You can get more defensive linemen. Oh my god! Like I'm with you. I'm all about draft picks. I love draft picks.
Yeah. But and after all that, Kayvon is still available.
It's like you're asking me to cheat on my girlfriend here. Like I feel like I have a set mindset of what I want to do, but you're like, come on, Chris. Like eat the apple. Like I'm like, come on. Like I don't know, man. I really don't know.
All right, would you do this trade?
Oh Jesus.
Would you do a trade? Pick 10 to Kansas City for 29 and 30.
No. I will not do that trade. As much as I like having 2 additional first-round picks, I don't like going back to 29 and 30. Like I said.
Now I'm curious. This has piqued my curiosity, right? So some people would say, oh, why don't you package the 2 second-round picks and go back in the first round? But what if I don't want to do that?
Yeah.
Like, why not just keep the 4 picks in the second round? Because those picks are just as good as first-rounders.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see what we got. I'm getting to 35. All right, this trade I'm not going to do. I got offered pick 35 and pick 117 to Dallas for pick 56.
No.
And 2023 second and third round picks.
No.
Okay, so that's a reject. And I'm not going to do this one either. Okay. So look who's available. Kenyon Green, who would definitely solidify my interior line.
Mm-hmm.
Jaquan Brisker, I need a safety. Desperately need a safety. Breece Hall, running back. If I really wanted to go down that road, I could draft a running back in the second round. Linderbaum is available. I could use one of my four second-round picks on a guy like David Ojabo and have him sit for a year. Boy Maffey's available. Travis Jones is available. Jahan Dotson's available. Muma's available. So just for shits and giggles, I'm going to take Boy Maffey. So now I have Thibodeau, Maffey, and Carl Lawson as my pass rushers. And Bryce Huff, by the way. A lot of speed, man.
It's not bad. It's not bad at all. Fuck.
Now I have 38. And I got to think about what I'm going to do here. So I'm going to take Muma at 38.
I like Muma. I like that. That's a good pick for me. Like, we need linebackers. We so need linebackers. It's not even funny.
And now I just pick my next pick. I got to think about who I'm going to take. I'm going to take Travis Jones because I want that defensive lineman. So far in this round, I've come up with Travis Jones, Chad Muma, and Boy Maffey in the second round. So go with Kayvon Thibodeau and Garrett Wilson.
It's not bad.
And I have one more second round pick. So now if I really want to, I could take Tyler Linderbaum, who's still available. I could take Trey McBride, who's still available. I could take George Pickens. I could take Brandon Smith and add another linebacker. Jalen Petrie for my as a safety. You know what? I'm going to take my safety. So I'm going to take Jalen Petrie. So in the second round alone, I came out with Boy Maffey, Travis Jones. Let me see. Jalen Petrie, and see, the only thing that sucks about this is it doesn't show you who you've drafted so far. I just added 5 guys to my defense for next year.
Who could all start, too.
Yeah.
It's appetizing. It really is appetizing.
Bro.
All right. Yeah, let me do my version of the Jets draft now. All right. So let's get this going. Okay. Oh, they're calling me. Ooh, I got a trade offer. Okay, here we go.
No deal.
For the 4th overall pick, the Seahawks are offering the 9th overall pick, the 40th overall pick, 109, and 152. I don't think I can do that one.
See, here's one I would do on mine. Denver's offering me for pick 111 and a 6th round pick next year for 115 and 206 of this year.
Right.
See, I would do that. I have no problem doing that trade. Now, the Chargers have offered me pick 123 and pick 160 for pick 115 and pick 206.
Jeez. It's not bad. These aren't bad trades. I understand that, but it's just like, I don't know if I can actually do it because there are good players right then and there when I'm doing it. All right, so in mine, I'm taking Kayvon Thibodeau at the 4th overall pick. Guanu, Malik Willis, Kyle Hamilton, Jermaine Johnson. Oh, there we go. Who's calling? All right. For the 10th overall pick, the Eagles have offered me the 15th and 101 pick. No, I am not doing that. Okay. This is the Washington Commanders have offered me their 11th overall pick and the 189th overall pick.
What was it? They
offered the 11th overall pick and the 189 pick. So the 6th round, the swapping ones, and they're throwing in a 6th. Not really. I'm going to decline that as well. So now left on So left on the board so far for me, we got Charles Cross, Garrett Wilson, Stingley, Drake London, Kenny Pickett, Williams, Jordan Davis, Trevor Penning, and that's really the only ones I would even talk about. So I'm a big Drake London guy. I'm going Drake London here at 13. There we go. Kayvon Thibodeau and Drake London right off the board.
Okay.
All right, so where are we going? Where are we going here? Okay, Linderbaum went to the Cowboys. Huh. Weird. Okay, here we go. We're coming up into the second round now. Okay, who's calling?
So corny.
Okay, so this I might do. The Seahawks will offer me a 5th-round pick this year and a first next year for 35. I might do that.
A 5th this year.
I would do.
A 5th this year and what?
And their first next year.
Yeah, I would do that. I would
do that. I'm doing that.
Because you could recoup picks later if you want to.
Exactly. Okay, so 38. No, I'm ready to decline that trade. I'm not even going to read it. And I don't want that trade either. Okay. We're not even worth my time. Okay. So left on the board for me after drafting Kayvon Thibodeau and Drake London, I got Perion Winfrey, Jacoby Dean, Jaquan Brisker, Sky Moore, Christian Harris, Tyler Smith, Kenneth Walker. That's really all the good guys I like. Sean Ryan, who I actually really like, and Bernard Rainman. Honestly, I'm looking at this. I'm going to go Nakobe Dean, the linebacker from Georgia.
Nakobe Dean?
Yeah, Nakobe Dean. What'd I say?
You butcher names all the time on this show.
Oh, I'm so bad at names. So bad. But I'm going to go Nakobe Dean with this pick.
All right, my draft is almost over.
All right.
I'll tell you my recap.
All right.
Oh, Evgeny Malkin suspended for 4 games.
Why?
Cross-check the guy in the face.
Oh. Ooh, okay. So the Chiefs are offering me the 50th overall pick in the second round for my 3rd and 4th picks for a 3rd round pick and a 4th round pick.
What do you think? All right, my draft is done and we got to go soon. So,
all right, I'm gonna say no to this pick. I'm gonna say no to this just because it'll be such a long gap in between picking. So I'm gonna say no.
So I make the trade with Atlanta to move down to 8. Okay. And I wind up with Kayvon Thibodeau. Then at 10, I take Garrett Wilson. Now, that's my first round. Second round. Pick 35, I take Boy Mafi from Minnesota.
Right.
So now I have Kayvon and Boy Mafi as my pass rushers. At 38, I take Chad Muma. At 43, I take Travis Jones.
Okay.
And at 58, I take Jalen Petrie. So I've just added 5 defensive players with my first 6 picks.
Shit.
Now, my next pick is not until 115, and I take Isaiah Likely, the tight end from Coastal Carolina. So now I have C.J. Uzama, I have Ty Conklin, and I have this guy as my tight end. My tight end room is completely redone. 117, I take Jerome Ford, the running back from Cincinnati. So now I have my running back to go with Michael Carter.
Mm-hmm.
At 146, I take Tyquan Thornton, the wide receiver from Baylor, because I like Baylor wide receivers.
Right.
At 163, I take Alontae Taylor, cornerback from Tennessee. And my last pick at 206, I take Jalen McKenzie, offensive tackle, USC.
Okay.
Not a bad draft, man.
Definitely not a bad draft.
So
I just took Travis Jones with the 69th overall pick.
All right. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No, that's it for me, honestly. I'm just excited. The Mets are playing good. Draft is around the corner. The Masters. That guy, Scotty Scheffler, just blew everyone out the dead goddamn water.
Don't even get me fucking started on the Tiger blowjobs. I was so tired of listening to it after a while. Like, the guy didn't even fucking make the
Yeah,
last
I'll
fight.
say the dead honest truth. He sucked the last 2 days. He was terrible. Oh my
Everybody
goodness!
has such a hard on for Tiger Woods every time he comes back. It's such a big deal, and he fucking
Like
finished
I
it
was
12 apart.
I was generally excited to watch Tiger. Like I'm not gonna lie, I wanted to just watch Tiger play. But I'm not gonna suck him off and be like, oh my God, Tiger, yay, he played terrible. He stunk the last 2 days. It's like, oh, but he did so much from coming back from that car crash. Yeah, congratulations. You came back, awesome. You did a fantastic thing by coming back. But you sucked the past 2 days. Okay, I'm not gonna give him any credit where credit isn't due. Terrible. Scotty Scheffler, amazing. It was like insane watching him golf.
All right, everyone, that's going to do it for this episode of Moffett on the Mic, as we just kind of went off the rails at this point with mock drafts and Klim's fantasy phone ringing every 2 seconds for trades. Well, we'd like to thank everybody for watching us. You can follow the show, as always, on Instagram at Moffett on the Mic and on my Facebook page. Follow Klim and the A1 Sports Network on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We will not have a show next Monday night. We might have one a week from Friday. Mm-hmm. So just stay tuned. Klim will post it, and hopefully we'll have a guest if we can try to swing it. But so again, no show next Monday, but maybe next Friday. We'll see. And then week after that is the draft. So we'll be ready to go. So on behalf of Klim, this is Craig. This has been the Moffett on the Mic show. Wherever you are, stay safe. Enjoy the rest of the week. We'll be back maybe a week from Friday right here on the A1 Sports Network Facebook page. Klim, take care of yourself. Enjoy doing whatever it is you're doing. And we will be back very soon. Everyone, take care of yourselves. Have a great rest of your evening. And before you know it, we'll be back with an all-new show. Take care, everybody.